Women want a lean, muscular, athletic looking physique. This is the ideal male body type that men should be aiming for. So many guys are trying to focus on putting on as much muscle as possible, idolizing guys like Arnold and Sebum, when the ironic part is that girls don't even find that much muscle attractive. If you think that you need to get huge or take steroids to be attractive to girls, you're an idiot. You don't need that much muscle at all to have success with girls. And I'm going to tell you some stories from my own personal experience, but I'm also not discouraging anyone from going into the gym and building an attractive body, because the thing is, it's really difficult as a natural to put on too much muscle. Even if you are in the gym pushing extremely hard, you can do that without having to worry. It's going to be very difficult to be too big. And the thing is, if you are just mixing in a sport and weightlifting, you are going to be completely fine. You're going to be the most attractive version of yourself to the most amount of girls. Now, every girl has their own unique preference, but generally speaking, this is the most attractive body type. And if you need help building an aesthetic body, if you don't know where to start, I broke down exactly what you can do to build this body type that is the most attractive to girls in an aesthetic body transformation guide. It's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. So at 18 years old, I remember going cliff jumping with my boys, and at this point in my life, I was extremely chiseled. I was super lean. My abs were popping. I didn't have too much mass on my chest, shoulders, and back, but you could see the muscle really well because it wasn't hidden by any fat. So the little muscle that I did have, it did look good, and I was bodybuilding at this point. So I was putting on some muscle, and you could see striations and cuts and things like that. But by no means was I a bodybuilder. I was just a very lean kid with some muscle. And take into consideration before we go into the story that I did not have any game at this point. This was before I did my self-development transformation at 19. So I was kind of just there with my friends. And I remember there was a friend group of girls who came to the cliff jumping spot, and we all kind of just ended up interacting, talking to each other. And I didn't necessarily have any charm or charisma, but one of the girls found me really attractive. We ended up jumping off the cliff together, and we all hung out as a friend group. And then later, we invited them back to my place that night, and they ended up coming and we all hung out, and I kissed her and stuff like that. But like I said, I was not that good with girls at this point, so not too much happened. I mean, me now, I could have done so much with the situation, but back in the day, I was just clueless. I was kind of just going with the flow. But the whole point here is that she found my body very attractive because there was no game on my part. I was not running any game. I was just there, and she found me attractive because of my body. So I didn't have that much muscle, but I was lean and I did look good without a shirt on. And that was the key thing that allowed me to have the success over my friends who were either just skinny fat, had no muscle, or were straight outright fat. Those were the options there. And then there was me, who was ripped with some muscle, and that's what she preferred. So that is the power of having an athletic physique. Your body type is a lot of the time your dating strategy. So that will get your foot in the door more than a lot of other things will. So now I want to dive into why the amount of muscle that you have is not that important. So when you go up and speak to a girl who at least decently likes you, right? That's kind of the criteria that we need to move forward for this point with, because there's some girls who I go up and talk to this day, being 10 times better than I was at 18, who will shut me down when I have good style, a great physique, I'm richer, I'm smarter, I'm more charismatic, more charming, and I still get shut down right off the bat, right? Within 15, 30 seconds, I can tell that this girl is just not interested, and there's nothing you can do there. But when you go and speak to a girl who is decently interested in you, you can tell she's got that spark, that twinkle in her eye, she's smiling, it's good body language. She's not thinking about comparing you to other people in this moment. If you're engaging and if you're captivating to some degree, she's just present in the moment, seeing you in front of her. There's nothing else in her own personal reality besides you in front of her interacting with her. So she's just seeing you and the character traits that you have. So if you have some muscle, she's gonna notice the muscle that you have. When was the last time you were interacting with a girl who was pretty and you were like, you know, she's pretty and she's nice and she's fun, but her tits aren't big enough? You know, you never thought that thought. That's the stupidest thing. And if you did, you're extremely picky. And that's kind of stupid. When I'm having fun with a girl, if she has one slight character flaw, if it's something about her body that's not perfect, let's say She's a beautiful blonde hair, blue-eyed girl who's got a great body, nice ass, but she's got small tits. That's a common one. That's something I see all the time in Scandinavia. There's so many beautiful girls who have a great body, but their tits are just a little smaller. Do you think I'm sitting there thinking, I really would bring this girl home if she just had some bigger titties? No, I've never said that. I've never said that. I've never thought that. It's never crossed my mind. And it's the same thing that happens when you're speaking with girls. They're not sitting there thinking, this guy, he's nice, he's charming, he's funny, he's looking good, but he just doesn't have enough muscle. No girl has ever thought that. That's never been a factor that a girl has thought of when you're in front of her and she likes you. So the amount of muscle that you have is not that important. As long as you have some muscle, you're improving yourself over time, you're more than qualified to have all the success that you need. And here's the thing. I see so many guys who are just skinny who have tons of successful girls. They've got good style, they're nice, they're charming, they're charismatic, and they kill the game with girls. So adding muscle to your physique is only going to help you. Obviously, like I mentioned before, you do not need to be huge. You do not need steroid level muscle. The more natural muscle that you have, the more attractive that you're going to be. Like I said, it's very hard to put on too much, but you never need to worry about where you're at in your journey for having success with girls. You don't need to have It's not like you're going to get to, let's say, a certain BMI where you have, enough muscle and a low enough body fat, and now all of a sudden girls are going to find you attractive. You should be able to get girls at every stage of your journey. Whether you are skinny or fat, you should be trying, honestly. Obviously, it's going to be the best when it's lean and muscular, but on your journey there, you're more than qualified. If you're skinny right now and you're bulking up, you're qualified to get with girls. It's not like you need to have any certain criteria, because that's not the frame of mind that people operate in when they find you attractive. It's not like if someone likes you, they're going to say, you know what, I like this guy, but he doesn't have enough muscle. So that's never the way that girls think. And I really think that example I brought up, it was pretty funny, but I think it serves a valuable point that a lot of you can really internalize and use when you're interacting with girls, to be a little less in your head and a little bit more in the moment. And I think this will change a lot for you, because you really don't need too much muscle to succeed. Anywhere you're at in your own personal journey is more than good enough. And now there's one last reason why girls prefer the athletic physique to the bodybuilder one. See, when you're the bodybuilder, a lot of the time you're hyper focused on the gym, you're working out every single day, you're super dialed in with your diet, you don't want to do anything that will deter from your progress in the gym, and you're so results based with the gains that you're getting that you won't do anything else. You won't party, you won't go out to dinners, you won't cheat with your diet, you won't do other activities, you wouldn't do boxing because it's a risk for your bodybuilding progress. There's so many things that you won't do, whereas someone who is more athletic and multi-dimensional is so much more attractive. Let me give you an example from my own life. So I'm splitting my time between boxing and weightlifting now. So I'm developing a valuable skill set that's attractive in itself. To be able to fight is attractive. I also like to do things like hiking, rock climbing. You get so many interesting stories from hiking mountains and going and traveling and doing that. Rock climbing, super fucking cool. There's so many different things that you can do. Like my friend, for example, he's in Norway, and we were rock climbing a bunch the prior year, and he's now rock climbing out in the outdoors in like straight up mountains in Norway. Think about the stories he has to tell from doing something like that. Whereas the guy who just bodybuilds all the time only has bodybuilding to talk about. It makes you so much less multidimensional, right? If you only have one thing you focus on, whereas you can have so many layers to your personality, so much depth. Girls find you interesting across the board, and you have a good body as it is. Like we already mentioned, they're not comparing it to anything else. They're just seeing you in front of them. And if you're attractive and you got a good body, you're more than good. You don't need to be at bodybuilder level status. You don't need to have a bicep vein, a vein here. It doesn't matter. These little things that a lot of guys can get focused on, which I'll admit I did care about. I was Googling those articles. How do you get the bicep vein? How do you get the shoulder vein? Like, who the fuck cares? No one cares about these things. It's not going to make you more attractive. This is only something that a guy would care about. as we've mentioned, like these are things that probably you guys have probably thought about at some point too. And it's fair. It's something that is cool, but in the end of the day, it's not going to impact your ability to get girls. You're so much better off doing more things, learning different skill sets, going fucking skiing, having different things that you do and life experiences that are athletic that make you multidimensional. That's so much more attractive to girls. And once again, if you want to build the attractive body, I made the aesthetic body transformation guide for you, breaking everything down that you need to do to build that body type and be the most attractive version of yourself to girls.